and Komona no Omudina no President John Dramani Mahama eka sembi na before meka sasana listen to this one. Yebeka say NPP when the going went tough for them in bid up to 2024 elections are more attributed the problems that they were encountering to the Russia-Ukraine war. Any one or two things be already eshom. Now the Israel-US Iranian war na ebano and I say egusuna ekosono wiase na in say in the shortest time na ama wiase akwakweden. President John Dramani Mahama went to Tanzania. When Tanzania President Kasan and also is urging all African presidents to brace themselves because there will be an economic shocks and also external shocks and all that because of the Israel and Iran for entokwarin. So the share ni mu say sa problems the baba ama affect you feel semne sa normally na any idea but ye danya na ya a day before yesterday when President John Dramani Mahama engaged the organized labor or say the economy is resilient to the extent that it is ready to stand against any shocks bia external shocks bia me bebo video na chama me ba I have Dr. Techi Jan Christian is a financial expert. Dr. Evans Nuru is a renowned economist who will be with us, and Dr. Santo Ochre Jonathan is a political science lecturer, University of Cape Coast, and so ever joining us to digest this issue. Now, okay, so and Dr. Kobi Amwa, lawyer Kobi Amwa also join us. So let's watch the video, then I come back right now.
Now, like I said, Bibi I afraid Brofo Kasemo resilience. If you say and you're to me see to say you walk COVID-19 by actually Russia-Ukraine war. War na Bibi Aba say one ma usika semu anya dia. Sa nyoma na ba na ama economy na bofom. Enti ya stability ye ye pese ye ma yesika sem ye den economy ne ye den se ne be ya se hwan ni hwan na kontokwa se hwan na efu kontokwa ye economy no benya honden na etimi astande sa shock no na mi wogidie se enyoma ya toto no sa afi ba kuin ama ya economy na enya honden enti wo ya Israel ni Iran ni hwan mo kuin nyame adum nti ya economy no ebetimi ejina.
All right, John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, and Nasima Kuwedia Asima Kane, and we are clear on the line. I have Dr. Evans Nunu, is a renowned economist in West Africa. So say, baby, Babeduni, Oma Penasamo Kane, Yenina, we are aware, say, the macroeconomic indicators, no, before Babefa, Obabe president in the second term in January 2025, now inflation was 21.4, food inflation was 21.0. Now the inflation I hit 1.6 or something, and the food inflation so called 5.4. And the exchange rate was 14.7. Today it's at 10.7. Your GDP I grow more than ICD 100 billion. Your foreign reserves from 10 billion to 13 billion, on and on and on. What the president is saying, these macroeconomic indicators are president is it enough to stand that shock now? Abano.
Yo, Mechia Ashefo ina so. Na many president ya doing work can be so. But Meka say a short-term resilience there. And na menen ya doing 100%. Na say shock no persist and I say a drag for some time. One shana yashwa eshe. And the make us. The Emma make us and say Ghana is too open. Also, there is no economy in the world that in trading externally, and I say import and I say export. But Ghana no, we are overly dependent on imports. And I face no share and no me the quadruple my reserves no and yet very much diversified. Yet any gold, cocoa, oil. Now oil no cry no net importers because you import refined oil. Now we share your exporters as against importer. So if there is anything on the global marketer, they likely say a bit affect here.
Yeah.
Into me who say we share your macroeconomic environment now. President right. In any case, say the match IMF benchmark crana. IMF eka say with international reserves 3 months cover at least you are safe. But Ghana bossa. But me problem is say yes say woni mu a hwena. Wo hwe the second price window crana March mu ya petrol ekosoro by about 60%. Approximately 60%, diesel about 17%, LPG about 11.3%. Not just and it is attributable to the Middle East confusion. It tells you say Ghana resilient, but say shock me back not say drag it for that longer. And I've already mentioned the reasons. First and foremost, extremely dependent on imports. Until anything be a bema a normal boy, we are normal boy across Rubia, and I like to say import inflation in Biaba. And because we also import currency now who are to me a shaky kakra. And Nanchaya, the Cabibria, reschedule. I mean, we've restructured our debts. It doesn't mean say neka. Into Ghana the capa. Given all these conditions, Ghana ain't yet too safe. So I would say, and even apart from that, we have very limited fiscal space. Not just as I say, business say, Omani and I say, Obeso, Yemfeka Kra, Washa, DSC 2022, no, it became easily. Because before COVID-19, now Ghana, Obeka say resilient, we share economic growth, near the macroeconomic indicators now, and bad, sir. But COVID by free water, free way. Now you're supporting higher. Yes, I understand. Say accountability wasn't enough, so it is likely say nobody be here. I do accept, but I don't know the free human society more a bit difficult. We can only alleviate it, and so for me, I agree with the president to some extent. Say we are resilient and we can resist any external shocks, but our prayer should be that shock wouldn't linger on for long. If it stretches for long, the answer trend for longer, and assembly to you.
But Doc, a president as some okay, a real because we are told say Donald Trump, the American president, has made the whole world to know say Obe ended this war in 5 weeks and fuel crash here according to the NPA. We had them here. They say that it can cater for us for 5.5 weeks and all that. But say if a konuko a CD 5 weeks into maybe 1 month, 2 to 3 months, but you as economist, we are renowned economists, everybody calls you left, center, left, and right. Who share your economy now? Is the president well briefed? Say the wakan with the BBC or can I say a beer or can you say you cry keke just say beer and for your mission show more keke.
Oh, we share the nurse so, and of course it is quite obvious. So we share your macroeconomic environment now. The okano no krebu, but the meme can say, no, Anthony and share long run say and tokano a drag on and I say external shock biba na say a cha because yeke Argentina we share comparatively we share price adjustment for the second window this month. And no was wrong. I didn't because stock of fuel and I say oil 5 weeks to cover 5 weeks grana. So we told we are back from. And he said we are more air costra. And you'll be the back say also adjust the price because we told we are. It was a from. It is just like what happened to cocoa. Say if we are some work no at a point we are forced to beat ours down because enya dan ya ni wiase na edidwa intino so kasa ye ba kofa oil abane de se ye wo bi ho kra na se de bo na ekosoro yetumi nya hwe han tena wo sa anya sa e de aka ne o ha bebre beba energy sector intino we cannot rule out the fact say Ghana has done well over the period. I think by record, what we have seen over the inflation crown, one that means a bit me about do 3.3%. Look, for the past 2 years, may invest heavily into treasury bills. I tell you, say rate now 91-day bill, they are around 4%, approximately 4%, bit about 4%. Just 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, then over 25%. I mean, so the economy is doing so well. Everybody understands. But what I say, you can say bet me arrest the shocker. It is also true, but not when it trends. Say shock, no. Yemonpa is very short. Even what is happening in the Middle East, I must be frank. Say if a call for about a month or two, if we don't take time, you be reversal of some of the gains we've made, especially since say monetary policy rate. Bank of Ghana, so for now we have no reason to complain, but it makes us more and more vulnerable in terms of our macroeconomic gains because over the period we've struggled to come to where we are now. It is as NDC, now say we are still beating down interest rate. It is good, but it's quite an expansionary policy. And if there is any power, some muscles to resist shocks, but our prayer should be that it will not resist or it will not persist for that long. Otherwise.
Okay, so thank you very much. Dr. Evans Nuru is an economist. Doc, don't go yet. Let me engage your brothers on the line. I have Dr. Christian Techijan is a financial expert. Now, Doc, Yabaka is a NPP 4-time. The economy was doing well, just like this one, and COVID-19 by. In a haste, some call it say they couldn't manage Yesika same year. You could just they created a problem, and the inflation is a cost there. I feel Russia Ukraine war by 2022, and also out of that, now domestic exchange bond, and also cover problem. But though the current vice president described that domestic exchange bond, and they say was good because Amaya Kaswati about 34 billion. That's fine, but the domestic exchange bond there, Kofo free say they were necessary evil. Kotete Kofo Sika eco creative problem, chaos in the country. Now, say the air bay or my penya share body. But if you are to advise the president not to make such a mistakes, advise Bernard Obama president so that saying just in case that your penny can be a shock, your resilience, no, a mukoya ha. What else can you advise the president to do in order for us to, get the strength? I bet we are fighting any baby or DBA.
For na fulina away. Say President Mahama I can say the Ghanaian economy say it's built resilient into whatever external shocks are coming out from Israel, United States against the Iran war now. I really beg to differ. Probably or kasa from the nature of the shock. We have COVID-19 and the repercussions now in Ghana now. There came a time when public workers were not going to work for close to about a year, yet government was paying them. So there was zero productivity, yet every month everyone else was drawing the salary. And all the impact was very huge. And I wasn't surprised in 2022 inflation rising could do over 50% because people were not working, there was no productivity generated within the economy, yet people were drawing salaries. And the expenditure and government so we had to create that artificial money system to be able to pay for the salaries, though there wasn't any productivity that was being generated. However, it's important to note that our economy remains fragile because we are predominantly and dependent on external conditions. The nature of the shock now, it's not just energy, it's not just geopolitical. it transcends beyond that. We share supply of goods and services, and also Ebeka home. We share Ghana, total fuel importing within the country between $350 million to $400 million on annual basis. Sa sikeino ye kase 10% krampo emra meka ho a, that is going to be a lot of money on us. And already we've seen fuel price at the pump part of the energy sector being increased. I think last week or so we experienced increases. Sa increase we na abano. It's not like say ochinebina eso ebaba bete. Even sentokano yemfa say ne dedua ye kase say krampo na eso etia. Machinery and I said the mining system now what Iran are shutting it down. It's going to take about 3-4 months before see a bit my building. In Tokano Krampo, I know AC and I and the Krampa. That is how long it will take, say, on bit me a rebuilding infrastructure, because let's not forget, say there's been a lot of infrastructure it's been bombed and it's been blasted, and there is nothing that is coming out from there. Say oil if you say bit me afa the Strait of Hormuz ediaba onto the international market near yamele wo a process that ready say ebeba adwaman so na eno no nya ba wi let's not take away from that infrastructure now. You're saying no, it's going to take a bit of time until there's going to be that lapse in time. And supply, and then in economics we know say when demand outweighs supply, obviously prices go high. And to say no power supply no we are experiencing higher pump prices.
I see. To
talk about say timer you find say a BA Strait of Hormuz no crampo na fuel no it may be drama so that's 3 months or 4 months period na you be here to be able to repair the infrastructure that is bent to be able to start reproduction and no crampo we've not talked about it. So no matter where you stand, no matter where you say, at the end of the day, it is going to affect us. And America's already cried. We've seen fuel prices at the pump side of energy sector. It's gone up. It has everything to do with us. Let's not forget to say Ghana economy. It's also driven by fuel. It affects literally everything. Say ABA market woman now okofane niyama ABA the free techiman and the free kransa and the bank aba beton ya tutu fuel mu nti ese ya tutu case council mu. The businessman or businesswoman is also a rational economic agent. Time bia obetry so no be protected the profit margin onya nti ya tutu bia obviously ono so de bonu bi ebeka the price of the product are also air ton into we're going to have prices of goods and services becoming more expensive. When that happens, obviously inflation goes high because goods and services, the price of goods and services actually go high. In whichever way that you look at it, it's going to affect us. Echo higher, the government not going to say obey increasing salaries it means the real income is also going to shrink because sena oje 5,000 Ghana cedis na 5,000 Ghana cedis no oko market na otimito ebia 5 tubers of yam and some other things say 5 tubers of yam for the same price it's going to increase into can you know to 5 no say train a bit matter into over 5 there he will have to spend more out of his 5,000. So it means a household real income purchasing power now bit market to be able to buy goods and services and also what happens, there's going to be poverty. When poverty happens, when it occurs, people wouldn't be able to pay for their school fees, even investment, any savings their family it's also going to reduce because they will have to now tap into the savings of the family to be able to feed themselves because the money that they already earn and it's not going to be enough on the market because prices of goods and services have actually gone up. Into whichever way that you look at it it's going to affect us. Utility, we know say some of our electricity already it's also powered by thermal energy. Some of these thermal diesel, any these fuel no be ECG and a VRA generate electricity at the mayen. And say fuel prices now it means those thermal machinery now generate electricity at the mayen. Also, we are rational economic agent. As all also to me making a profit and protect the profit margin and also make it. And what that means is say electricity could also go high. And the total case kamu nearma ewo just why day electricity so how do you convince me say it's not going to affect the ordinary Ghanaian? No matter how resilient your economy is, even now, the biggest of the economies, the G8, the G9s, and all of them, the UK, USA, they are all even feeling the brunt assets now as we speak. How much more import-driven economy like ours? So there is no way the president can convince me, say, what is happening is not going to have a telling effect on the Ghanaian economy.
All right, let's take this for a minute, then I switch. Now, the presidential press secretary, the person of Mr. Ofosu Kwakye, Babonti Beka said, even the shock, about the impact, and yet he said, yes, you feeling the edifa. Don't you think that the Oma Penika say, and Roma Yadia Guaquemono? Resilient enough to stand that shock. A normal media go and say, I don't know, the impact wouldn't be as the COVID one and the Ukraine war now, and the inflation escalate creative problems.
All right, so at this juncture, probably he is speaking from the nature of impact, comparative analysis between what we experienced in 2022 and what we are about to experience probably in 2026. What we experienced in 2022, we had the Russia-Ukraine war, okay? Yeah. Russia, and so it's a very big dealer in terms of fuel. And we can use it to compare to what we are going through, because Iran also produces a lot of oil. 20% of the world's oil comes from that side. But we had the ravages of COVID-19 where people were not going to work. People were just in the house. People were not generating any level of productivity. Yet government had to find money to pay them. That is the biggest catch in this whole argument. And that was what made the difference, what we call the differentiation factor between what we experienced then and what we are about to experience. Impact because of COVID-19, it affected literally everyone on earth. Everyone on earth. People were not going to work. Imported inflation, the car, so many other things were going on. Into COVID-19, it was that massive. And the president wants to make the point, say, impact and yet to say COVID-19, then I can agree, because COVID-19 was so massive, say, Sanka Samre Nanka and no Eba Bekawan, Menusa baby cried ETSC.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pacho Janasumami. Dr. Tachi, Christian Tachi Jan is a financial expert. On the line, I have Dr. Asante Ochre, Jonathan, Dr. Asante Ochre. Do you have, I'm coming, yes. Dr. Asante Ochre is a political analyst and a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and an executive director at the African Institute of Strategic Studies. Sir, thank you very much for joining us. Now, you are a political lecturer, a political science lecturer. So, politically, you say that Dr. Nunu Asamokai, now Dr. Tachi Jan Swasamokai say if the G8, the G9, they are all bracing themselves because they know say definitely the impact in a babano. So I'm bracing yourself, you cannot stand it. Now, what the president is saying, say a kobase war it me travel be at 2-3 months. Let's say impact the feeling start to say eba na economy be resilient and pa na say it me standing here and feel the impact in pa politically. What will it mean to the National Democratic Congress government as a party and the president?
You say I'm the say, I mean, chia or share for any every. A decano. No, but Penikano are very reassuring because a leader must reassure the followers. That is very important. Last week, when President Trump spoke about the fact that the war will end very soon, that in itself brought the price of oil from as much as 115 down to about 82, dollars per barrel. So the very first thing that the president did is to reassure all of us, said the resilience of the economy will be able to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, sir, he will not speak in vacuum. There is no way, Albaka said, you will argue, say, we will not have some kind of effect. Already, we have had the first window in terms of price and buy, we've seen some percentage increment, 16 here, 17 there, 11 there.
Yeah.
And, the effect has already started. You see, the economic indicators today, they are by far stronger than the previous government. And I will share in terms of more reserves or more building, in terms of how the nation is benefiting from good, prices of gold. That should equally tell you, sir, to be able to build a 5.9 months of import cover, it means that your economy is resilient.
Yeah.
That's why the fact that we are an import-driven economy. No two ways about that. We import a lot more things. But because, say, at the moment, the city has become very stronger, like not previously, It means, say, we are still not going to import high inflation into the country. What that means, say, as much as the city becomes stronger, vis-a-vis the dollar, other major currencies, which means any money import, it is not everything that is oil. Any money import, these things will relatively be what? Be good prices on the market. Now, in terms of the oil, you see there are other factors determine. One, you're showing inflation. Two, the strength of the city. These two. Then the one that is externally driven, the pricing at the international level.
Yeah.
And only you control. You control. And you say, you control the way I am managing the inflation, so that the rate of price rising as fast as it used to be, to the point that we rose as far as 54, came to 23.8, and now this is probably the lowest I've ever seen, 3.3. It's unbelievable. And inflation, of course, probably it may rise because of the fuel prices cost more obviously it may affect inflation because transportation it could affect the prices of goods and services because people will transport and so on and so forth. But we share the first window here by the transport companies. They said no, they are not increasing because we have witnessed unprecedented reductions in fuel prices. And first window by very high, 16, 17, 11 they are suggesting to us, say, they are not going to increase, they're not going to touch, transport fares.
Yeah.
And I think, sir, Russia, for example, interest rate, policy rate, Bank of Ghana, that in itself could also affect the cost of borrowing. If the cost of borrowing is still lower, what that means in say they are still maintaining the value of the city. So if you have 100 cities today with the inflation of 3.3, it is by far more valuable than 23.8 in 2024. So your city is commanding more, value than it used to be. So unless say and may be radical BC, maybe it could lead to some kind of pressure on mismanaging. And once you mismanage, remember, you would have set off, a triggering machine gun. There's nothing else you can do than create problems for yourself. So disagree with the previous speaker. Say we are going to have some effect. But in terms of resilience and what they have been able to create for the past 1 year and 2 months, if this thing does not even last, or it lasts to a certain period, I think, as a nation, we should be able to manage it. But finally, we are a net importer and exporter, right? We export oil. When oil price at the international level go higher, we rake in more revenue in terms of government. Government can decide, say, based upon sika yenyan more in terms of tax revenue royalties near the end, they can share fuel at the local pricing so that the prices will not rise until say be a normalize it. Or they can have an arrangement that oil that is produced locally, a certain percentage will have to be here so that they can be refined and we shall have price stability.
I see.
Until someone Penikacha say, Okacho say the economy is resilient. He knows exactly what he's talking about because record now is here indicators are I think they are strong enough to resist any kind of massive shocks. With the case of the previous government, by 2019, World Bank and Maya said the economy was vulnerable, so it just took COVID to expose us, and then Russian-Ukraine do minimally. But you see, as I always say, this Russian-Ukraine, we have harped on it till a final verdict was given in 2024. So, in as much as people still use that to go to the market, I think it has been overflogged. The Ghanaians have given their verdict on that, and probably there is the need for a different way of reasoning in terms of the difficulties that we faced in the previous year.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll say the city is commanding more value than it used to be. Dr. Sante Ocho, Dr. Jasmine, let me engage lawyer Kobi Amwa is aide to Ora Kennedy Ohine Japan, and of course NPP communicator. The reason why we have to bring this man here is that no political party rep here, but we've seen some NPP communicators keep hammering there, say economy no because say because Russia Ukraine, and we've seen some posts coming from some NPP people. It looks like say they will have wished say Kebia Yabeko crisis in Munanka. I'm just saying it. I'm not saying that lawyer Kobi Amwa yes I don't know. But lawyer, let me ask you, in case you say the Omanpenina Aken say economy is resilient and pa ne say ebia yentimi anko problem biamu say shocks ne war ne travel to bia 6 months ne say yetimi solve that problem now. Would that stand as a disadvantage for your political party going forward into the 2028 elections?
All right, I think I say me chawo no wetie fo ina ne mpanyimfo a omwo ahomenso a mema e ka say say enkomo na yedi no e ade a Ghana for bebre interested because say dey na yeguso hama no during MPP time you say ade a at least a bomb of mine from powers ade a friend no exogenous shocks na say new may see o amafo amine so a ebenya effect on our economy. To say they can Russia-Ukraine war and COVID-19. Na I've also taken note of them and Peninia Canon. Kakam Pesemeka want say yes. You maybe say no. Sometimes they over politicize no and the conference saying be banner because of the NDC for equitize MPP because of the effect of Russia-Ukraine war. Over Nyoma, we believe say it has been the inefficiency of our governance structure in all, no, and not necessarily NPP governments, no. And the Apapu say, as President Mahama last a week before who can say this is going to have an effect on African economies, our pressure kakaba, you know. Now it's also some reassurance to the Ghanaian people say some pressure no any idea be affected yeah as Ghana. Some in a because yes, to be frank, see as all share there be a war no edru no now compared to maybe a Russia-Ukraine war no any COVID-19 for Russia-Ukraine war COVID-19 was very much prolonged.
Yeah.
I be at the start here no now or share or mine into share 1 or 2 Ghana out to 2. Now you say effects no a bit maybe you know. To say MPP Ghana you an IMF program at least IMF in California they often be or might better not mining and buy a lot of technical support up why am I share economy no. So we think that we have some resilience. Now at the back me say depend brain for margining call the effect of this war on China. So Ghana, our biggest trading partner is China.
I see.
Almost mining from China. Ghana so almost everything here is imported. And say maybe I find the Strait of Hormuz. A small pine beer ship it me fako efa Iran echi Inti we are seeing now oil 20% no on efa. Na do one efa ho ni na so ko China. Na sisi a war nti no yen kan hu say oil na say ko China. E ma de China for their production. E ma Ghana for krabi. E de enyoma bebre no enko se yesi ko no. Na say China for reserves no say sa. Na say war no that so prolong that it will have an effect on China. Once China becomes affected, no,
definitely it will hit us.
Effect on Ghana goes beyond oil.
Yeah.
Because now almost all our imports, no, ever go high. Because China, the prices of goods in China will become high, and that is going to gravely affect our economy. Internationally, idea about me say initial. But coming to answer your question, no, I don't think say MPP4 will share Ghana buying one day. MPP4. Yes, any individual bank affected government because as of now, anybody are all during the current effects as of now. No, you can't compare this current effects to the Russia-Ukraine war and COVID-19 and multiple crises. COVID-19 affected the including supply chain. Now Russia-Ukraine, mind you, Ghana imported when it comes to our wheat. Rice, any other no don't offer Russia and Ukraine. A lot of our grains are imported to don't offer Russia and Ukraine. 2, a lot of fertilizer used for mining these channels.
Yeah.
Cheap these channels. Yeah. So it is not just a matter of so now oil prices and a cost. Just like right now, Iran we are seeing oil prices. But say effects no to us no effects could pay China. Realize that it goes beyond oil. And no big mama inflation, you know, across show. I think say MPP4 mostly what MPP4 tried to do and say NDC at the time, you know, said Jawoni Abem, so it was all about criticism. Now maybe no if say chair MPP4 said, oh Mona Mabem no no man ko so ya mo de share Russia Ukraine war. Now they been say so MPP4 I think all people have been trying to remind them say see Addo Abano. So according to you, no, we are the managers of the economy. So once we are the managers of the economy, the problem here is to fix it.
Yeah.
But as a country, ain't been building enough resilience. Country, PBR or this is imported. The toothpick cry imported. No, I say Burkina Faso say mobile hold on to intos. Get a crown. There's some panic in the system. My inquiry tools creating India no. Adie besi will be crew no affected. Especially Adie its effects which might call the largest trading partner of the country no. But they say a bonfire said the war not prolonged because I don't think we put in place that those right measures are say Adie not see these are trading partners so it might protect the economy.
So you don't believe or trust the president say or can say resilient to the extent that we can stand the shock. You know papa I say
In fact, no, but I didn't blaming me. Or my penny there. It's what in crunch. Or my penny to be can't say. Or my neighbor say your economy neighbor say you.
All right.
So yes, I no crime cause much more pressure on the system. But I don't think say you're building an enough and a resilient economy as we claim to be. And then truth be told, and yeah, my penny about going human.
All right.
Yes, I say on mine. Okay, I build here. That's come on for so. But in the state media, and yeah, they are me to say.
Thank you very much, lawyer Kobi Amwa is a communication team member and my new Patriotic Party, and also the 8th Edema Ora Kennedy Ohina Japan. Let me go back to Dr. Evans Nuno. Let me yes, I'll channel for 4 minutes now. Yenfa and the speakers no dos mo fan chair. So, Doc, what else can you say? Say you have listened to all the speakers. If you have a reaction, be rebuttal, be and I say Addo be a person. Oh yeah, let's move.
Yes, the person can say Ghana IMF na yakona about 17 times. No, na complacency, any overconfidence. So bakaya. Previous government, yanko IMF, enyadi ebeko IMF, enyadi ebeko IMF. Yeah. Nyambi amwa anka yekwa yenkura no menye bibia mfa yanche. Because na IMF yayema. Anyway, see that they found it very difficult to get us a package because na yatra homa minus ya go do bibia. That is how come we even have to restructure our debts. Ye may be more haircut me idea so that we can even qualify for an extended credit facility because send ye try home or mine say na are difficult for them to put us somewhere. Honestly speaking, so there me person me train ya bi no course de say ye ka say we overly exposed that a hard adwin enye say bia wagasa wo exchange rate no bona e betumi ha wadwin. Sometimes your exchange rate could be intact, your fiscal policies and macroeconomic environment could be intact. But the reality is that, for example, Ghana, we share your import breakdown now. You import about 21% of our total import from China. China so heavily dependent on oil supply from the Middle East. Enti say adie bi ha China na wo no ma bo kosora. Ebi ana Ghana cities ready and say your macroeconomic environment is intact, but wo no ma bo na ekosoro. And so the reality is that our economy is intact, nothing has happened. The only thing is that inflation probably is going up in China. I'm not saying that is what is happening, but that could happen. And the Evanesana said we are very much exposed that Amaya Hodua would depend on them. No? So when we experience any inflation, a major inflation, it may affect whether your macroeconomic environment is intact or not. And so these are some of the things we have to consider. For me, I say this because yet me complacent too much. Of course, President Jobeka no working, but you were technocrats, people who are really in charge. And I always say that the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Ghana, because of our macroeconomic policies, our fiscal policies and monetary policies, no matter what happens, the politician could speak like a politician, but if your technical people, no, I mean those are the Ministry of Finance and Bank of Ghana. So we should not be going back to the IMF. Otherwise, and another thing is free IMF. I think in the next 2 months or so, we should be coming out of the IMF. And bano, I say complacency be a idea na fire no and me pese yin na atwe adwene ba so but yes if
1 minute man ye wrap up then na me bisa ne say pede o kan mi say me kra afeni min kromadwena abaso. So does it mean say e bia ka ba bia adu yesika sem ye ne yi yes I question IMF though the program no is about to end, but if you can continue just to have a cover I can do be because said the other year before COVID near you baby ya now okay say or yes say ade na ko do baby ni wudu so na se ye be ko ye near brage class omo ye na be ko IMF ni ade but later he beto ye na we had to go. So when will you advise that we extend the IMF program so that it will have some cover be?
Yes, me too. So what can I say? I want to be solved. Kind of stuff. But what you are saying makes a lot of sense. Other countries, they do no. Baby nano edge extension kakra. Ebi anya 1 year krana. Some few months biya. One more day to no maybe
yeah.
Because also ya schedule your data. Ebi kraba mature next year near there. Intino say extension, some month extension, especially given what is happening in the Middle East. That anya bad sir.
Okay.
And
all right.
Say you can say what can say mean to a bind for say only say 5 months extension bina on one so bad munche. Let's be frank with ourselves. About we ever to say your order. Ena oba is na no man no bebre na enye. Ena womo abomodia sisi almost ya recover we want to take off. Media say afutu bi wo ha me de bemo wo say womonye extension kakra. I will not hesitate to do so. And I think that if they opt for an extension and yet something that is bad, I will support it. So that say 5 months or 6 months to no me see abotre e dia hwe system no ye atoto no ma ye na afedi ye hu efrase because it is not always about moving out of IMF. It's about how you want to move and how you manage yourselves in the space.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evans Nero is a renowned economist in West Africa. Doc, thank you very much, pa. Let me go to Dr. Tachijan Christian, a financial expert. So, Doc, what else can you tell us? Hello, Doc. Hello, Dr. Tachijan. Doc, please unmute yourself for me. I'm saying on sa mute no. It unmute me why? Okay, I'm saying Doc and Temeka. So let me go to Dr. Santochri. Doc, so let me give you 4 minutes for rebuttal bia will be and the other bia a bia or person or the kahun bia. Let me give you 4 minutes on this.
Oh, I'm saying the America, I try to want to say we need to improve agri productivity. Fine. At this point in time. Mushania Burkina Faso kana na chese si amfa ene maybe antutu ya eba ha adwene kakra. Entozo so there is staple food in this country. And I think so far no in so many years, it was just the whole of last year. I did not see a period in which I couldn't even differentiate between lean season and then the period of glut. There was stability as far as tomatoes was concerned. The Greek Minister Mate last year on launch we are actually say the businessmen or Muhian tools the Burkina Faso type of citizens too. They are providing that to ensure say we'll have that kind of thing on the market. I think that the president, the finance minister, and co they should sit down and commit resources there.
Okay.
Secondly, in terms of agri, I am aware say Omanpeniko Commission Echo Kati sword for the building of a meat and poultry processing factory. Because we are importing over $300 and something million worth of what? Poultry product annually. And that means to say we import about 95%. So at this time, I am aware they are building something like that. But you have to put your mouth where your mouth is. If the president is not aware, I'm calling upon him, say, on training show because oil say oil new oil in this street a good say we good roads a good say be available oil but what you have to bear in mind is say a come in pa sanya man and
all right
Thank you
very much.
The way we are going about in terms of productivity, we need to ensure say there is that sustainability in terms of agri productivity, and that near minister, finance minister, in the budget now. As at last year, agri was the mainstay of this economy.
All right.
And it contributed for the growth of the GDP. I'll see any call.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan Asante. So let me go back to Dr. Techijan. Doc, let me give you 4 minutes. Take your 4 minutes bite. Now, your rebuttal being your person or the Ekahubia. Now, unmute your set for me, please.
Yeah, I've actually unmuted. Sorry, earlier I couldn't have it unmuted.
No.
Yeah. So the point that I was making is and listening to the other panelists, it makes sense if, being the president of the nation, the President Mahama wants to assure us there isn't nothing of a serious consequence is going to happen to our economy. I understand from the leadership point of view, and from governance point of view, so I also understand it, because said bibi ba be si anawa we panyin no mom no e bia went man shey crying na wo kan se me bebu ya bamu a e what telling effects bebre e we economy so so ka se e be affect yen bebre a yenim se Ghana no, we have the tendency, especially as we don't believe so much in our currency, if there is going to be global issues of this magnitude that people want to store the value of their currency, especially in US dollar. And when a lot of people want to go after the US dollar, know what that means? They say the strength of our cedi is going to weaken against the major trading currencies, in this case, the US dollar. In TABR, from the governance point of view, from the leadership point of view, the government wants to present a reassured position to us. I do really understand perfectly. But then, when you talk about finance and the effect, you feel, say, this war no ebitmenya on our economy there, we shouldn't underrate it. And even if from the governance and leadership position, now the president wants to assure the nation, I know, say, in the back door, in the conversation rooms, during cabinet meetings, they are putting in pragmatic measures, say, yen slampe into what we went into somewhere 2021, 2022. Like I've mentioned earlier, no matter the effect, Yebinyana was our war way, so into 2021 and 2022, because it wasn't just the war between Russia and Ukraine, there was also the telling effect of COVID-19. Yeah. So we put that one aside. You need to do those levels, but no matter what you tell me, we can never run away from the ravages.
30 seconds on this. 30 seconds. They said that Dr. Nunu Ekano. Dr. Kwabnadufo made us to understand that in 2009 you call IMF, but nobody heard it until say or granting interview no be president for so many years. It took us about 10 years or something. And a man who says 2009 you call IMF. So it means that we can go to IMF abraya hiding. So in this case, good say advisable for us to extend the IMF programs to have a cover B. And I say just 30 seconds on this.
Well, I think, in economics, there is what we call speculation. Once you begin to speculate, say, oh, yeah, because IMF, and here will be when you see Kakra or some dollars, anybody can count the ramifications when we all want to exchange into the dollar. And people's perception of what the economy will be, economy, it slumps more into ravages. And even if they would extend it, I don't think it should be BBR. It should be out there, everybody talking about it. Okay. If there is a way that we can have that program extended, I think it's going to be very helpful, because trust me, the ravages are going to be felt. It's going to be felt. If within the next quarter, the last quarter before the year ends, definitely we're going to feel the pinch of it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Christian Techijan is a financial expert. So let me continue with lawyer Kobi Amwa. So lawyer, I'm going to fetch me Mateo 1 minute here, time. So let me give you 2 minutes on this. What else can you tell us?